Welcome all. In this video, we are going to discuss regarding adrenal gland. The adrenal gland located above the kidneys. Adrenal gland is located above the kidney. For that purpose, it is called suprarenal glands. They are called as suprarenal gland because they are located above the kidney, and they are of pyramid shape, weighing hardly about 4 to 5 grams. It's a normal weight of the adrenal gland, but doing a majority of the important function. So that adrenal gland is also called as a life-saving gland in the body. Looking at the adrenal gland proper, one adrenal gland will take, will enlarge this. It has got central part medulla, called as medulla, and outside part which is called as cortex. Again, the cortex is divided into three layers. First layer, and this one, the second layer, and central one is the below one is third layer. It has got three layers: first, second, and third layer. First layer is called zona glomerulosa. And second layer is called zona fasciculata. And the third layer is called zona reticularis. Like that, the cortex is divided into three layers: outer glomerulosa, middle fasciculata, and inner reticularis. Many people find the confusion of these names from outer to inside. We made a mnemonic for that. Outer side is G for glomerulosa, middle is F for fasciculata, and inner is R for reticularis. So it is G, F, R. Most commonly used in renal physiology, where the kidney nephron starts urine production by the glomerular filtration rate, that is GFR. GFR. So from outside to inside, the glomerulosa, fasciculata, and inner reticularis. Okay. This is adrenal cortex. This outside, this is middle, this is inside. See, zona glomerulosa is making only 10% of the thickness of the cortex. Zona fasciculata is making 80% of the thickness, and zona reticularis inside is only the 10% again of the thickness of the cortex. The zona glomerulosa major hormone secreted is aldosterone, which is also called as mineralocorticoid. Why? Because it is playing majorly in terms of electrolytes and minerals, sodium and potassium regulation. For that purpose, it is called mineralocorticoid. What does it will do? It is increases the sodium absorption and decreases the potassium in the body, eliminates from the body, increase accretion of the potassium and increase absorption of the sodium. For that purpose, it is called as mineralocorticoid. Zona fasciculata, example is cortisol. It is called as glucocorticoid. Why? Because it is majorly functioning the glucose metabolism in the body. For that, it is called as glucocorticoid. Zona reticularis is responsible for the sex hormones. It's called as androgens, mainly testosterone and estrogen production in the body. So this is the major function of the adrenal cortex. This is regarding very basic one, and these are all the three: aldosterone, cortisol, and sex hormones. They are all mainly what corticosteroids. They are steroid hormones, and their precursor is all these three hormones. The precursor is cholesterol. Cholesterol is a precursor. So for that purpose, cholesterol is called as father of these all hormone synthesis. In this video, we'll be going in detail regarding zona fasciculata. Which is of 80% thickness of the cortex of adrenal gland, responsible for the synthesis of cortisol, which is a glucocorticoid. Okay, we'll be discussing zona fasciculata in detail in this video. Write down zona fasciculata. This is the adrenal gland. Center part is medulla. This layer is zona fasciculata, and inside layer is zona reticularis, and outside layer is zona glomerulosa. Okay, three layers are there. We are going to discuss regarding zona fasciculata here. We will enlarge the one cell of zona fasciculata. We enlarge the one cell of zona fasciculata here. One cell. Before going to discuss regarding the zona fasciculata, drop this middle portion. Before going to start this zona fasciculata, the synthesis ultimately is, as we said, it is cortisol. Synthesis ultimately is cortisol. Before going to start here, adrenal gland is controlled by the master known as pituitary gland and hypothalamus. Pituitary gland and hypothalamus. What the hypothalamus will do? Hypothalamus will secrete corticotropin releasing hormone. Hypothalamus will secrete the corticotropin releasing hormone. That corticotropin releasing hormone will come into the anterior pituitary. From the anterior pituitary, there is a secretion of ACTH. There is a secretion ACTH. What is ACTH? It's adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone means it comes in the adrenal cortex and stimulates the production of many hormones from the adrenal cortex. Now it comes and acts on the zona fasciculata here. Zona fasciculata here. Here it comes and acts on the zona fasciculata. ACTH. It comes and acts on the zona fasciculata. Okay, this is the stimulation for the cortisol synthesis by the hypothalamus and the pituitary. What are the factors that will increase the ACTH production from the pituitary? See, the first is a stress factors, like the person is getting for the anxiety and emotional factors, fear. They all stimulate the hypothalamus via limbic system. They stimulate the hypothalamus so that in the hypothalamus CRH is released and ACTH is released. And next one, biological conditions. Example, post surgeries, post trauma. In that situation, again the ACTH is released more. And we'll make a list of this when we are discussing the functions of the cortisol. We'll make a list of this. When the cortisol is produced, it will relatively inhibit the ACTH production. It is called as negative feedback inhibition of the ACTH production. Okay, this is regarding all the pituitary and hypothalamus ACTH released, and it acts on the zona fasciculata cell to produce the cortisol. Now we'll go here. ACTH comes and acts in the cell of the zona fasciculatum. On the action, it stimulates the production of G-stimulatory protein. As G-stimulatory protein will leads to surface enzyme activation, adenyl cyclase. And the activation of adenyl cyclase, there is a production of from ATP into cyclic AMP. From the cyclic AMP, there is a stimulus and there is a synthesis of protein kinase A, which is very important in the stimulation of the cortisol synthesis steps. Now this happened. ACTH, it will stimulate the G stimulatory protein, it stimulate adenyl cyclase. There is a conversion of ATP into cyclic AMP. From the cyclic AMP, it acts as a second messenger. There is a synthesis of protein kinase A. Okay, as I told, cortisol, the main precursor is cholesterol. Which is called as father of this hormone synthesis. From the cholesterol, there is a synthesis of pregnenolone. There is synthesis of pregnenolone. From the pregnenolone is progesterone. From the progesterone, 17-hydroxy progesterone synthesized. From 17-hydroxy progesterone, 11-deoxy cortisol is produced. From the 11-deoxy cortisol, there is a production of cortisol. Then what is the link between this ACTH induced production of the protein kinase A and from cholesterol to cortisol? The important thing is this protein kinase A will be stimulating the steps, all the steps of the cortisol synthesis, so that in terms of the ACTH stimulation protein kinase A, the cholesterol to cortisol synthesis is enhanced. It is increased. There is an increased production of cortisol, so that it's called as potent stimulator for cortisol synthesis. As well as the cholesterol, which is in ester form, will be converted into free form, so that it is utilized in the cortisol synthesis. This is how the ACTH produced will be ultimately resulting in the cortisol synthesis. Next is what the cortisol will do. As the cortisol is produced, as the cortisol will produce from the adrenal gland in the zona fasciculata, here the cortisol is produced. The cortisol enters into the blood. In the blood, it binds to the binding proteins, and the protein is first cortisol binding proteins. They are corticosteroid binding globulin and transcortin. These are the two proteins where in the blood the cortisol is going to bind with them. That is transcortin and corticosteroid binding globulin. corticosteroid binding globulin, CBG, and transporting. This will be binding this cortisol and releasing into the many organs to do its function. Okay. In the blood now, it is there. Cortisol is there in the blood now. And what it will do? First one, it acts on the lipid cells. It acts on the lipid cells. As lipid cells means what? Fat cell. It acts on the fat cell. And the fat cell is made up of what? This is the fat cell. Fat cell. It acts on the fat cell and it is degradates. It means what? Lipolytic activity. Lipolysis. It degradates that lipolysis and results in the production of fatty acid and glycerol. Important. What we told? It acts on the lipid cell or fat cell and it leads to the lipolysis, and there is a degradation of this fat cell and it leads to fatty acid and glycerol, original form of the fat cell, that is the fatty acid and glycerol synthesis. Second one, it acts on the protein which is there in the muscle, and other part of the body, and proteins are break down into amino acids. Means what? In the protein metabolism, it has got catabolic activity. Catabolic activity. It divides the protein. It destructs the protein into the basic forms, that is amino acids. What we mentioned is the protein metabolism, it is going to catabolism, leads to amino acids, and the lipid metabolism, it going to divide and there is a formation of fatty acids and glycerols. We'll make those important function here. First function, lipolysis, and second function is protein catabolism. See, look at here. As because of the lipolysis, there is a production of fatty acids and glycerol. As because of the protein catabolism, there is a more production of amino acids. See, these two, fatty acids and glycerol and amino acids, these three, first, second, and these three, all these three are used to produce glucose. All these three are used to produce the glucose in the liver. This step is known as, means what? We are producing the glucose from the non-glucose molecules. We are producing this glucose from the non-glucose molecules. It's known as gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis means what? With a non-glucose molecule, the glucose is produced. Now it is called as gluconeogenesis. This is the third function of cortisol. Gluconeogenesis. Good. Next, see, this is the liver. Whenever we eat more of carbohydrate-rich food, we eat more carbohydrate-rich foods, it leads to glucose formation more in the body. As the glucose level goes more in the body, what the liver will do? Liver will take the glucose and store it as glycogen. A same person, when he is in a fasting, when he is not eating for 2 days or 3 days, same glycogen is again utilized in the form of glucose. Vice versa it is. What the cortisol will do? Cortisol will stimulate from the glycogen to glucose production. The stored glycogen is getting converted into glucose production. This step is called as what? It's called glycogen as coming and breaking, leading to the glucose here. It is called glycogen lysis. Glycogen is lysis, leads to glucose formation. This is because of cortisol. Fourth function is glycolysis. Fourth function is glycolysis. So simple one. So ultimately, what is the major role or major concern of the cortisol is it is producing the fat to degrade, and it is doing a protein to catabolize, and it is making the precursor into the glucose formation. What is the ultimately the cortisol function is increase the glucose in the body. Increase the glucose in the body. Look here, lipolysis, protein catabolism. These two precursors are used to form a glucose, that is gluconeogenesis. Means what? The glucose will increase in the body. And glycolysis, sorry, this is not a glycolysis, it is glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis, sorry, it is a glucogenolysis. Glycogen lysis, it is glucogenolysis, it is. So because of this, again there is a glucose level increase in the body, right? Ultimately the cortisol is concerned with increased glucose level in the body, increases the glucose level in the body. So glycogen lysis. Next, actions on inflammation. What it will do? It reduces the inflammation. It reduces the inflammation by preventing tissue injuries. Reduces the inflammation by the tissue injuries and decreasing the fibroblastic activity of the cells. Decreasing fibroblastic cells activity. Because of these two, the tissue inflammation is reduced. Fifth point is decreases the inflammation. Decreases the inflammation. And in WBC, on the action of the white blood cell, eosinophils count is going to decrease in the body when the cortisol level is high. Why? Because when the cortisol level is high, it destructs, or it's called a sequestration of the eosinophils in the lungs and the spleen. Because of that, the eosinophil level goes down in the body. That is called as hallmark of the cortisol level increase. Whenever the cortisol level is increased, the eosinophil level is going down in the body. And the WBC action, it is eosinophilia. Like that, it will cause a lymphophilia also. Lymphocytes are going to decrease, and it increases the neutrophils because of the more neutrophil production in the bone marrow. That's action on the WBCs. Next, it is also playing a role in small mineralocorticoid activity. As mainly the aldosterone, which is produced from the zona glomerulosa, but in case of cortisol has got milder mineralocorticoid activity, it also plays a role in case of sodium and potassium regulations. Small mineralocorticoid activity, we will also write here. It has got small mineralocorticoid activity. Small mineralocorticoid activity. So these are the major functions of the cortisol hormone. And important last function is seventh function, right here. It increases the sensitivity of all organs to catecholamines. Catecholamines. See, the catecholamines are mainly produced by the adrenal medulla. Adrenaline, noradrenaline, these are the catecholamines produced by the adrenal medulla. This cortisol increases this is the tissue considered, and the presence of the cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline will be acted better in presence of the cortisol. Means what? It increases the sensitivity of the organ to respond for catecholamines. So for that purpose, whatever the catecholamines action is there, it increases the heart rate, it increases the blood pressure, sympathetic and parasympathetic activity, all everything is enhanced because of cortisol presence. This is important one. As I told, increases the sensitivity of catecholamines to tissue. Catecholamines to tissue. This is all regarding cortisol. So last one, whenever the cortisol level is more in the body, it leads to Cushing syndrome. Cushing syndrome. It leads to Cushing syndrome whenever the cortisol level more in the body. Whenever the cortisol or the whole adrenal cortex is lesser, it leads to Addison's disease. Not only the cortisol, all the cortex is inhibited, it leads to Addison's disease. Addison's disease. So this is all basic regarding the cortisol hormone production and its action. Thank you.